just gonna go this way. This bike probably can do a burnout. I'll tell you what, Dimitri, we're gonna give you a burnout. Are you watching? You watching? Are you watching? Look here. Burnout for Dimitri. See, how am I going to do this? There you go, burnout. All right, everyone. So here we go. This is day 2 of the Bafang e-bike project. So we did quite a few changes on the bike this morning. So one of the things we had to do is on the maiden voyage yesterday, the test ride, we had an awful grindy noise coming. It sounded like a disc brake rotor rubbing, but ended up having to pull this axle all apart, and it ended up being the axle. When you got the bearing adjusted all the way, the axle was rubbing on the shell inside the hub. So pulled the axle out, ended up filing the axle down to reduce the tolerance on it just a little bit. I knew it was a little bit thicker in the middle than the previous axle, but I didn't think it was actually rubbing. But so the good thing about it is actually the bearing tolerance is actually tighter, because previously I thought that there was something wrong with the bearings, and so I had left the tolerance a little looser so I wouldn't get that rub. But now that I actually got that axle grinded down, I'm actually able to take the bearings in a little tighter, and there's no more rub going on here. So we got that fixed. Also, we got the rack here. I lowered it just a little bit, and I think I'm going to lower it some more. It just reduces the center of gravity of everything here, because previously it was all the way up here, which meant that on this here the rod was all the way in. So you really just had this structure where this, like, all this weight of the 2 batteries on here just made it very wonky as far as the ride. So we might actually lower this again. Probably end up having to cut the ends of these off so I can actually bring this down a little lower. So we got both batteries on today. We have our little device here that allows us to connect 2 batteries in parallel plus a charging port. So we have really double the battery capacity here. I put a little bag on here. This is actually a little frame bag, but I put it on here so that I can carry some tools with me today, just in case anything happens. We have the Bafang BBSHD 1000-watt motor here. I do have another chainring on order. This is a 46. I think I'm going to reduce this to a 44, just to give it a little bit of lighter range on the gearing here, because I'm only running 9 speeds on the back with a 34 on the rear. So I think if I get to 44, I'll have a little bit better low-end gears. So again, cable routing is just sort of general right now till I figure out what we're actually going to do with all the cable. I still need to put the, what do you call it, the switches for the brake, the kill switches for the brake switches. Here's the display is over here for the controller. So that is e-bike project day 2. The bike feels so much better today. It's very smooth, it's very quiet. So we're going to try to get a little bit longer ride in today. We're probably going to head up towards the mountains, and hopefully it won't rain on us. I think we're supposed to get rain around 2 o'clock, so I do need to get moving. So everyone, that's the e-bike right now. That's the project. So we're just gonna be testing it here and there just to really learn about the overall capacity and range of having 2 batteries on here. And then the next test will be hooking up the solar trailer and pulling that around and get an idea of what kind of range we get. All right, so for now, we need to get on it. We need to get going. Let's get going. All right, y'all. Let's keep moving. There's that cold wind. I definitely do not want to hit this bump here really hard. Let's see, oh, there we go. All right, there we go. That's the.
Dmitry Kupryanov said, "You should turn off TTS if you don't want us interrupting lol."
Oh, that's probably a good idea, huh? Let's see. Let me turn that off here real quick. Here, y'all.
Text to speech disabled.
Or, yeah, text to speech disabled. All right, everyone. Here's the e-bike project I've been working on, Bafang 10, 11-year-old mountain bike. This is day 2 of working on this bike. Yesterday was day 1. We did a short ride just to kind of give it its maiden voyage and test it out. So several things we did today to get ready for day 2 here. Number 1, yesterday we had a awful grinding going on here in this area here. I thought it was a brake rotor rub-in, couldn't quite figure it out. Ended up pulling this whole axle apart, and it ended up being that this axle that I changed out, which this used to be a quick release axle, I changed it to a solid axle. This axle had just enough tolerance that it was rubbing the inner hub of or the inside of the hub, and so in fact when I pulled the axle out, I could actually see where it was rubbing on the axle. So we took a file, shaved it down all the way around and everything, got it all back in, and in fact we actually got a much better tolerance or adjustment on the bearing than what it was. So we got this all adjusted, we got the axle fixed. The other thing I did is we got the second battery on today. So if you remember, I have this little device here that allows me to connect two batteries here, which are these here, and plus a charging port. So this bike will basically pull between these two batteries, and it looks at these two batteries as just one battery. These are 30 amp hours each, so I have 60 amp hours total capacity. So the other difference is we put both batteries on the rack today. One other big change I did today, this rack was sitting up much higher. In fact, on this bolt hole, it was all the way here at the top, which meant that these were angled way up. So I brought it down, which meant that these bars kind of came in here. So I'm actually going to lower this more. So that means I'm going to probably end up having to cut these down. The way it was sitting before up high here was it just had too much wobble. I wanted to get it down here, kind of lower the center of gravity, get it more stable. So I'm probably actually going to drill some holes and maybe get it lower. Get it, right around here, get a little better center of gravity on here. So that's what we've got going on back here. Up on the front, everything's still the same. We got front suspension bike. I got it locked out right now. This is the display right here. I believe this is called there I go, forgetting the name again. The EKD01 display here, which is a pretty nice little compact display. It's a little bit hard for me to read some of the things, but for the most part I can tell what's going on. We got the Bafang 1000 watt. This is the BBSHD 1000 watt Bafang motor. Now this cable routing, not quite sure what I'm going to do with it yet. This here is for a light. I can't remember what this here one is for, but this is the harness that comes up to the battery right here, or batteries go into the controller. The controller is built in to the motor, by the way, so there's a lot of these here where the controller is a separate device and usually sits somewhere else, but this is an all-in-one. The controller is actually built into the motor housing, which is really nice. So that's why all the wires come out of the motor. This here comes up to the front. So again, I just got this stuff kind of loose and hanging here right now. So cable speed display, and of course the brake kill switches, which I don't have those hooked up right now. So anyways, that's the bike, Motor Bacon e-mountain bike project. Oh, we can't forget these awesome tires, these Maxxis MetroPass Pro 2920 tires. These are some very heavy duty. They're UK. This is really a rating for that the UK uses. They use an E30 and an E50, and this is the highest rating. So there's actually built-in protection in the tire. Plus, I have a liner going around the inside of the tire. Very heavy-duty tire, and plus a really nice tread for the street. Makes it very efficient. One thing I think I'm going to change out. This is a 46, and I think I'm going to change this here. Well, I already have one ordered. I'm going to change this to a 44. I'm going to lose some of the top end as far as speed, but again, I don't ride these bikes to go fast. I really ride it more for enjoyment. So it'll actually change my gearing little bit better, so I have some better low end for climbing and such. So there's the project, everyone. Let me see if I get text to speech back. See if anybody has any questions about my project. Let's go see what cars we got out here today. Nice.